Hey guys, I'm here with Alan Aronson from Rosenthal Levy. He is a work comp attorney, and he also has a labor and employment law practice that he handles cases as well on behalf of plaintiffs. Welcome. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks.
Great to be here.
Thanks. And we're shooting today from a different background. We're at the Work Comp 2023 in the Orlando World Marriott Center. And so this is like my 10th year coming. Been coming here a while.
20 years.
20 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
First one was 2002.
2002. Okay, cool. So yeah, I heard the work comps have been a little bit tame over the years, tamer and tamer, but I heard back then they were a little wild, but we won't talk about that on the camera. We won't talk about that on the podcast.
That was before my time.
Okay, smart. Okay, cool. So thanks for coming. Wanted to interview you, wanted to get the word out about what you do. So you handle work comp cases. Obviously, we're here at the Work Comp Institute
Correct.
Training program. What are you doing here? Are you taking CE credits?
So the firm has been coming here for years. We get our credits. It's an excellent opportunity to get to speak to the defense attorneys, the adjusters, the doctors. With all the doctors downstairs, it's a great opportunity to pop into the exhibition hall and say hello to a doctor and get a mini opinion on a client. And we actually resolve cases with our opposition and with the adjusters. So it's very fruitful for us.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, these are great events. I like coming because I just get to meet so many people from around the country, but a lot of people from Florida. And you see defense attorneys, plaintiffs' attorneys, a lot of doctors, just people generally, I don't know what you'd call them, but they're in the business somehow. They're a funding company or some kind of surgery center.
If they're not a funding company or preparing Medicare set-asides or PIs, a lot of people in the exhibition hall manufacture prosthetics. So it's a real broad spectrum of insurance-related, medical, and legal.
Yeah, people you didn't know that you needed, but you're like, oh, that could be helpful for one of my clients. That's what I like about coming here too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So you've been with the firm Rosenthal Levy Simon for
I've been with Rosenthal Levy Simon and Sosa since 2002.
2002.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been doing, is that where you started doing work comp?
No. Before that, I was with Palm Beach County School District. I was a personnel attorney.
Oh.
And before that, I was with the Palm Beach County Police Benevolent Association. I was in-house for law enforcement. And I did mostly employment and labor at those two gigs. Okay. And then here, when I started with Rosenthal, I started workers' comp.
Okay, cool. So when you talk about labor and employment law, you're talking about discrimination cases.
Yeah, I'm talking about discrimination cases, harassment cases. Labor is different because that involves like collective bargaining. I represented a lot of police officers in administrative matters involving acts of misconduct. I went out on a lot of shootings, officer-involved shootings. But employment, it's like sexual harassment, religious discrimination, ADA work, age discrimination, all that type of stuff.
Okay, cool. And so you handle some of those cases and a lot of work comp.
A lot of work comp. Okay. Yeah, a lot of work comp. And sometimes you'll get that employment fall off from the workers' comp because there'll be like an adversarial relationship between the employer and your client, the injured worker, just because they're hurt.
So what you're saying is sometimes somebody gets hurt on the job, they put in a work injury claim, and the employer, they're not supposed to by law, they're not allowed to, but occasionally they will retaliate or harass the employer, make it difficult for them so they want to leave.
A lot of times, people get hurt on the job and their employer thinks that they're damaged goods.
Okay.
And, if you start to miss work because you've got a legitimate injury, I'm not saying it happens all the time, but some employers, they're real put off by that. Mm-hmm. And they'll do things they shouldn't do. They'll make life difficult on the job. They'll change job assignments. They'll cut back hours. And there's a portion of the workers' comp statute that addresses that. That's unlawful retaliation. Okay. And that kind of segues into the employment discriminations.
Okay. That's kind of interesting. Most people just do work comp. You seem to do both. What should somebody do? I'm just curious if I was an employee, I was working for somebody, I got injured on the job, I'm damaged goods now, like you said, right? the employer doesn't like me. What should I do to protect my employee discrimination case?
Great
What
point.
can I do?
So if you have an open workers' compensation claim, we'll represent you during the workers' compensation claim. And if we believe that there's a discrimination angle that's legitimate and provable, typically when a workers' compensation claim winds down, you settle the claim and the employer asks for a voluntary resignation. And we don't do that. We wouldn't do that. If we would file a charge of discrimination with the EEOC or the Florida Commission on Human Relations, and we would kind of leverage that.
Okay.
You want to settle the workers' compensation claim, you got to look seriously now at this employment discrimination claim. And if they're not willing to entertain the employment angle of this, a lot of times we're successful in carving out the employment discrimination claim from resolving the workers' compensation claim. It allows us to continue on if we want to go to court, either in state or federal court, if we think something is provable.
Okay. And you said you worked for the Police Benevolent Association in Palm Beach.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So do you get a lot of police officers?
I do.
First responders, that sort of thing?
I would say 20%, 25% of my practice is law enforcement officers, correctional officers, firefighters.
And these guys come to you because they trust you. You worked for the Police Benevolent.
Absolutely. Yes.
What I've heard that association name so many times. What can you enlighten us? What
it's a public sector union, and they collectively bargain on behalf of law enforcement officers who join the organization. Okay. So when I was doing it in Palm Beach County, I was responsible for a collective bargaining for about 15 or 20 agencies in Palm Beach County. I was responsible for representing officers in disciplinary matters, after hours, officer involved shootings, use of force incidents. I did that for about 8 years.
Okay. So you would represent the police officer on behalf of the union. The association
Correct.
Is the union.
In disciplinary matters initiated by their employer.
Okay, gotcha. So if they got suspended for a shooting,
if a member of the public didn't like the way he or she was handled by an officer, and they make a complaint into internal affairs, and it rises to the level of discipline, or an officer might be insubordinate.
Gotcha.
All sorts of things.
Okay, so
people got into trouble.
Yeah, so you kind of went from the Police Benevolent Association representing police officers against the city that they work for, the sheriff they work for, to protect their rights, really. Mm-hmm. And then now that you do work injury claims, you get a lot of those people coming to you as clients.
Correct.
And if there's a potential discrimination case or some kind of retaliation.
Yeah, it doesn't happen all the time, but we're attuned to it.
Yeah.
And if we see it and we think it's significant, we'll move forward with it. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I'd like to think that if a police officer is injured on the job, they get taken care of. They're not retaliated against.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Most of the time. But they have some real significant issues. And they have some really significant rights under the law that non-law enforcement employees don't have.
Okay.
They can file heart-lung claims. If you contract heart disease on the job, it's presumptively work-related.
Oh,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Correct.
So if you have a heart attack on the job or just while you're employed?
No, I mean...
what if I have a heart attack in the middle of the night? I'm a police officer, have a heart attack.
Harder to prove up.
Okay, but if it's on the job while you're on a shift.
Right. Oh. If you're on a shift, and it's not just heart disease, it's hypertension, spinal meningitis. Mm. There are certain enumerated diseases, hepatitis A, B, and C. They're presumed to be work-related.
Because of the stress of the job for protecting everybody.
Because of the stress of the job, because of, look at it, if you're a first responder and you come upon an accident scene and unfortunately it's bloody and you're in there trying to save people and, you get blood splatter, you run the risk of catching something like meningitis or hepatitis A, B, and C, and those are all compensable covered conditions. Okay. And and sometimes they'll deny them, because it's a rebuttable presumption, and then you have to litigate. Then you have to go in front of a judge of compensation claims and prove up your case that in this instance it was work-related.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I would, as a,
It's not a blanket thing.
Okay.
The law says that the presumption is there, but it's rebuttable. And sometimes,
the carrier is it the carrier or the employer?
It could be both.
Okay.
So if you're a law enforcement officer, just to get into it a little more, the first hurdle you need to make is you need to show that when you entered service with the agency that you suffered this heart attack or you developed heart disease or hypertension with, that you had a clean bill of health, that none of those conditions existed at the time that you got on the job.
Okay.
If you were hired and there was evidence of heart disease or hypertension, you're going to have a hard time.
Okay.
Having it.
But that's where you'll come in and at least look at it.
Correct.
And you guys only get paid if you collect money for the employee.
Correct.
Okay. So
we have a contingent fee practice.
Okay. So you guys, if there's no money going towards your client, you don't collect any money.
Let me correct that a little bit. If we secure benefits on behalf of our client by litigating, and those benefits are not timely paid or authorized, we can actually get a fee from the insurance company.
Okay.
I can get a fee from the insurance company for them not doing what they needed to do timely.
Okay.
There are timelines in the law.
Okay. So let me just ask you like a hypothetical question. I'm a first responder.
Go ahead.
I'm injured on the job. My doctor for work comp says you need an epidural injection in your spine, and they don't want to pay for it. The insurance company, the employer says we're not paying for it. You come in, you say, hey, the doctor knows this guy the best. They said that he needs the injection. And I'm kind of going as easy as I can here because I don't want to overstep, but you secure the epidural injection for the guy or whatever medical procedure,
whatever benefit
the first
it
responder, and then the insurance company would have to pay your fee for your time
and costs.
Okay.
And costs. Okay. So if we litigate it, if we file what we call a petition for benefits for that epidural or for a brace or for impairment benefits, and they don't timely respond and provide the benefit, and I have to litigate it, meaning I have to go to a mediation and get it secured at a mediation, or if that doesn't work, I have to go in front of a judge of compensation claims and I prevail, I get a fee from the employer carrier and the workers' compensation claim is still open.
Okay. And so these are their rights that they're entitled to, their benefits that they're entitled to for being on the job. And this isn't just for first responders, right? It sounds like first responders get some extra protections, which we want them to have.
Of course.
Because they're, protecting us, keeping us safe. But just any employee has certain benefits if they're injured on the job. I work at Publix. My deli, deli guy cuts his finger real bad. He gets benefits as well.
Same level of benefits. You could be working at Publix. You could be a landscape maintenance worker. You could be a roofer. You could be in construction. You could be a sous chef. You could be a teacher. If your employer has a minimum number of employees, then it's a covered workers' compensation claim.
Okay. Is there a hard number for all employers, or is it four employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's typically what someone would call like a W-2 employee.
Yes. If you're an independent contractor, there are defenses that an employer has because that person is not an employee. But again, lots of employers, to try to skirt the law, will say, no, this person's an independent contractor, and there's a test out there. Yeah. So we litigate that too. People will come to us, well, my boss says I'm an independent contractor and I signed an agreement saying that, but when you analyze what they do, they're an employee and not an independent contractor. We litigate those claims too, and we prevail.
Okay. So I know just from being as an attorney, some of the things are, you pick the hours that they work. So if an employer picks the shift, if the employer says you got to be here every day, if it looks like an employee, just because they pay you as a 1099 and just because they
providing you tools to do the job, providing you with a schedule. And if you were a true independent contractor, you would be able to work for a large group of employers. But if you've got someone who's saying, no, you can't work for anybody but me, here are your hours. Oh, and by the way, I'm providing you with the tools to do your job, but I'm going to give you a 1099 as opposed to a W-2. that doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can cut through that and say, no, this person's an employee.
Okay.
And the law provides for that.
I noticed that happens a lot in construction claims, right?
Construction claims.
Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They tell them, oh, you're a 1099, but it's really an employee. They only get paid, they get paid per day, per hour. Usually construction, I think they pay them per day.
Yeah.
But they tell them they're 1099, and sometimes they'll make them open up their own corporation, but you're able to fight those depending on the facts.
Correct. I mean, sometimes they're legitimately independent contractors, but other times it's just, they need a job, they get hired, they're characterized as independent contractors, but they're not.
Right.
And we fight the insurance company and the employers on those issues as well.
Okay, cool. What do you want people to know about you? What do you do for fun?
So I'm big into my tropical fish.
Okay, tropical fish.
Yeah,
so you got the fish tanks?
I have a really big 150-gallon fish tank. It's a freshwater fish tank, and I'm high tech. I inject CO2. I have high output lights. I've got really unusual fish.
What's the coolest fish you got?
Oh my God! I have these little dwarf, highly colored cichlids. And even though they're freshwater, they're beautiful, like orange and purple and yellows. And
do you have any jellyfish in there? I know.
No.
No, that's
all salt.
Is that okay?
It's all salt.
I know Vanilla Ice had he had a house. You saw that? He had jellyfish in the tank. It looked pretty cool.
That's not me.
That's not you're a tropical fish guy.
I'm a freshwater fish guy. I can handle that.
Okay, cool. Do you scuba dive at all?
No.
Okay.
No.
I I just got back a few months ago from Colombia. I went
cool. A lot of nice freshwater tropical fish in Colombia.
Yeah. I went diving in the ocean there. I didn't get a chance to go in the freshwater, but they had some really beautiful reefs, but you could tell it was overfished. These guys were just overfishing everything, but beautiful, gorgeous coral reef.
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Coral reefs are suffering.
Yeah, I know. Are you into, do you like, what's some of the cool, do you have any cool coral in your tank at all or anything like that?
That's all saltwater.
Okay. So
but it's heavily planted. So I've got there's a lot of green in my tank because of how heavily planted it is. And it kind of glows like after 6 o'clock when it starts to get dark out and the light is still on and the room is dark. It emits like a green glow.
Okay. That's
and then
cool.
It shuts down.
Yeah, Chris is over there in the corner. He's got a big fish tank at his house too. He's
salt or yeah. I mean, I could do a salt, but I just like I could do it. I've got the level of skill. I just don't want to do it.
Oh, I don't know if I should bring this up. This is kind of funny. My wife got a chart for our kid because he's into fishing now. That's
okay.
He's like learning to fish. And she sends me this photo. I got to find the name of the fish. She goes, what do I do? So there's this, like just a chart of fish.
Sure.
Like you've seen it. And then this one says the name of this one fish is called a slippery dick. A slippery dick. And she's like, what do I do? Should I cross that out?
I would cross it out.
Should I make it like a B instead of a D? And I'm like, I have no idea, because she doesn't want him. He just turned 10. She doesn't want him going to school.
But that's the name of the fish.
I know.
I mean,
but that's like the Jewfish. Like I was telling Chris last night, I go, they don't call it a Jewfish anymore. They call it, what do they call it? A Goliath grouper now. I was like, I don't know. I don't know. Should we rewrite the history? I don't know.
I don't think that's my job to do that. I don't think it's your job.
We're going to stick to the law.
I think that your wife could talk to your son in an appropriate way and say, this is the name of the fish.
Yeah.
But mom,
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. He's 10. Yeah. So we'll see. But I was like, I don't know. I'm like, why do they have to put that one fish on there out of 50 fish? Like, who cares about that one fish?
What was it? The slippery dick.
Yeah. Okay. It doesn't get better than that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. My son's going to watch this in 10 years and be like, what? I was wondering why there was a hole cut out in the thing. She's going to put another fish name on it, like with like just gum on the back or something.
Like sunfish.
Yeah.
Lionfish.
Cool. The sunfish, that's a cool looking fish.
The lionfish are bad.
Yeah, they had lionfish in Colombia. They had lionfish.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, they had a lionfish.
They're not native.
What's the scuba for lionfish? Is it? You can't talk underwater, so you got to do signals. This is clownfish. The Nemo fish, clownfish, shark, lobster, crabs, the lionfishes.
Yeah, they have these poisonous spines.
Yeah. His brother is an absolute idiot and went. He's a professional diver and went right up and touched it. And then he gets out of the water and he goes, "I got stung." And I go, "You touched it. You went right up to it and touched it. Why would you do that?"
Not me.
Yeah, he's nuts. He's a good guy though. But Steven, I'm sorry. So, all right. So you're into freshwater fish. That's cool.
I like my cars.
You like cars? What kind of cars are you into?
I have a 2018 BMW M2.
Okay.
But I've had BMW 2002s. I've had an old vintage Porsche 356A. Had a 240Z. They come and go.
Yeah. Do you like to like soup them up, modify them?
No, I like them stock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, keep them stock.
Okay. Yeah. You mostly like Beamers?
I like Beamers. I like my tastes run to Bimmers and not that I could own a Ferrari, but I like Ferraris.
Hey man, if this market goes any further, you're gonna own two of them for the price
sure.
of one. Yeah.
No doubt. Not so much a Porsche guy. I like older Datsuns.
Okay.
Like 60s and 70s Datsuns. Still I like.
Thinking of the Thunderbird with the T-top.
No, I like old Mustangs and Camaros.
Okay.
Road racing.
The new Corvettes look sick,
gorgeous,
right?
stunning car.
That's where were they holding on to that?
It took them a while to give their engineers and their designers, everything that they needed to put that together. It's a gorgeous car.
It's a beautiful car. Cool. And so where did you grow up? And
so I grew up in the Northeast. I was born in the Bronx in New York City.
Boogie Down Bronx.
Yeah.
Okay, we got some Brooklyn people in the background over
for
there.
Sure. And then parents moved us out to Comac, Long Island, in Suffolk County.
Okay.
So I grew up there. I went to college in New York, State University of New York at Binghamton.
Wow.
And took a couple of years off. Then I went back to school, went to law school at Jacob D. Fuchsberg Law Center.
Where's that at?
It's in Suffolk County.
Okay.
It's a huge freestanding building next to the district court, the state district court, and there's a federal court out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And practiced up there for a while. And my wife and I moved down here.
Okay. When did you guys move down here?
1990.
1990.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I raised my kids down here.
Okay, cool. And then you live in what area?
I live in Palm Beach County. I live in West Lake Worth.
Oh, okay.
Off of Jog Road.
Cool. And your guys' office is in?
We have two offices. We have one office on Palm Beach Lakes Boulevard. And then we have another office up in Port St. Lucie.
Port St. Lucie. Okay, that's a booming area.
Yeah.
Nice
We're
area.
very busy up there.
And you guys handle cases statewide?
I have a statewide practice. We all have statewide practices. I have clients as far north as Pensacola, and I have clients in the Keys.
Okay. Two very different clients.
Two very different clients. Yes,
Yeah.
but they're all over.
Yeah, I say I advertise statewide and we handle cases statewide, but the Panhandle people are just different people. It's like Alabama people, Georgia people, not Florida people.
It's interesting you bring that up. The client that I have up in Pensacola, his doctors are in Alabama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Pensacola's kind of rural, though. You'd expect to see.
Rural. He's this guy is a retired corrections deputy.
Okay.
Very rural.
Yeah. Those cases up there, the doctors are very difficult to find for specialty.
Very difficult to find.
Specialty.
Yeah.
They don't want to. You got to travel if you want to see a specialist.
You got to go to Gainesville. Sometimes even Tallahassee or Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of.
Not a lot of options.
There's not a lot of options. Not a lot of surgery up there.
Yeah.
Not a lot of specialists. It's just like you said. It's rural.
Yeah. Cool. And if people want to get a hold of you, we're going to put your phone number up there. The website is rosenthallevy.com.
rosenthallevy.com.
Okay. And awesome. Okay, cool. So, all right. Thanks, man. Thanks for being on the podcast.
For bringing me.
Thank you. Cool. All right. Thanks. Good.